going on?
you've hit a nail on the head of a recurring theme on this show, which is my qualms with the warm-up process in jiu-jitsu. It I respect it in and only that the tradition. That I get
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah, but you know, it's not even that's what's funny. Tradition, what? Like, where did it get handed down from? Like, are jumping jacks the tradition? You know, like is running around the room, touching your knees and your feet, like something passed down from some generational. You know, is it you know, is it a technique? Is it some kind of secret, you know, sacred warm up that was passed
ritual.
on? Yeah, ritual passed down from the wizard of jujitsu. No, it's a fucking lazy way. It's somebody who's just like, okay, how do I get these guys warmed up? How do I warm up myself? I know, I'll run around the room. Okay, cool. You run around
Makes
the
no
room.
sense.
Oh, yeah,
No sense.
I'll do.
And
Yeah,
on top of that, I mean, aside from the fact that doing half-assed high knees, half-assed butt kickers, two inside, two outside, face the room, karaoke, front roll, back roll. Aside from that, just not making sense for what you're about to do, it is the general cool warm up and then sit on the floor and do nothing as you watch technique, let the heart rate come all the way back down, stop all heat in the body, and then live rolls. That whole arc of movement, you would never see in any other athletic setting, let alone one that involves combat, aggression, intensity, and then an inability to regulate your own skill in many cases when people are new. Seeing what you guys are doing, these, like I said, these movement patterns, it's like it for a ton of different reasons it's valuable, but for the person who's showing up 3 times a week after their job, who just generally lacks movement proficiency in and of itself, it gives them the opportunity to explore what their body does and actually develop proprioception by their own regard, which nothing will serve you better in jujitsu than knowing where you are in space. So this run around the room, do the high knees, kick your butt, face inside, face outside. When does it? It's got to stop. It's got to stop soon.
well, well, it doesn't stop until there is until you. I mean, why did the avoidance of leg locks stop? Well, it's because someone came along and disrupted that and demonstrated that if you have leg locks, you can you can dominate, you know, other people who don't. And that was a very, you know, I mean, it was a very clear interruption, and it changed the culture of jujitsu, as we both know to this day. Um, and what's ironic is it wasn't new. You know, it's like none of these leg locks are new. They're all pre-existing, you know,
Right.
things. Some of the entries are new. Some of the, you know, weirdness can be new ideas, but you know, the general problems were always solved a long time ago. And I think that something's going to happen similar to that, where something comes along that makes people go, oh, well, you know, why are we doing it like this when we could be doing it like that? Because that way produces, you know, this result, which have to all agree we want. And the result for in the other situation was we all agree we want to win. So we'll incorporate leg locks. Okay.
Right. Right.
So that is pretty right. That's an easy one. And then you think about this one, which is interesting. Can't we all agree we want to be able to do jujitsu longer? Can't we agree we want to have, you know, longevity and sustainability? You know, it's like I I think what happens for people with me is like I I roll, train, move, and then what happens is people forget I'm 51 years old
Right.
because I'm moving
Yeah.
just like them. And
Right.
so instead of thinking of me like this older guy, they think of me as a contemporary because I'm doing what they're doing. We're all doing,
Right.
we're all in, but and then they forget actually, like, oh wow, oh yeah, this guy's 25 years older than me, and
Yeah.
he's still moving just like I am.
Because
And
you're not exhibiting geriatric characteristics because
right,
you've
and
taken movement seriously your whole life.
right, but maybe that's, in a way, it's also problematic because I think that they also then just forget. The irony of that is they also
Right.
forget that that's what's going on. Like they become blind to, oh yeah, how do you do that? You know what I
Right.
mean? Oh, how are you
Well,
doing that?
I want to hear your thoughts on this because I've when I think through this because I agree the leg lock example is a really good example of how you get a concept like adjusting the preparatory movements for jujitsu and getting a good change to come about. But here's one thing that I feel like people run into when I try to walk myself all the way through this. So there's two things. One is and I will try if I'm ever leading a warm up, I'll do this. I'll do more dynamic movements where you're flowing from one to the other. And what happens is because many people have just never considered their own mobility in the first place, and perhaps jujitsu is kind of the one thing that they do that's non-sedentary. When
Mhm,
they meet these patterns, they go, "Whoa, I can't do that." Right? That's their initial the thought in their head is, "I can't do that." And now I feel silly and I don't know what I'm doing. So if we're talking about kind of the general practitioner here, right, the hobbyist, not the elite level grappler. And
mhm,
so that's one side is the attendees, the people in the class. The second would be perhaps the instructor themselves lacks the mobility or understanding of these patterns to know what to do or how to perform them efficiently. So
mhm,
they naturally default to the things that they know, which is what they've done as they went through jujitsu for 10 to 20 years and ascended to black belt, competitive or not. So, what do you feel like is the introduction point to get these concepts into academies where people understand them and can start to roll them out because I am so on board with this change. I think it's very,
mhm,
very important, especially as the sport grows, because with more hundreds of thousands of people doing this, bad warm-ups will mean more injuries, period.